The Georgia Bulldogs absolutely crush the Ole Miss Rebels tonight. The band's still playing, the fans are still here, the rain is coming down, but this was a dominant performance by the Georgia Bulldogs. 52-17 your final score in Athens, Georgia tonight. Just a fantastic environment, elite Sanford Stadium crowd. This place was electric, and the team absolutely fed off that. They scored touchdowns on the first 4 drives of the game. They had 600 yards of total offense. They rushed for 300 yards in this ball game, 5 touchdowns. Mike Bobo was dialed in. Carson Beck was very good, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brock Bowers played. He scored a touchdown. This was everything a Georgia fan was looking for out of this game. And this was a quality Ole Miss opponent. They are a top 10 team in the country, and Georgia just demolished them. I mean, this was a game for about 1 quarter. Ole Miss scored a touchdown on their opening drive like the last 4 teams have done, by the way. I think Vanderbilt, Florida, Missouri, and now Ole Miss all scored, I think, a touchdown on their opening drive. Georgia made adjustments. They started to attack, and Ole Miss couldn't do anything offensively from the second quarter on. They scored their second touchdown early in that second quarter. After that, it was nothing. I thought Georgia's defense, again, started a little slow, but they were outstanding the rest of the ball game. Tackled well. They were great in coverage. Started to get after Jackson Dart. If you can't hear me, I apologize. Still a lot going on. This is a big win, and you could feel it in the stadium. Again, the fan base was phenomenal. The offense was as good as we've seen them all season long. 52 points is not easy. I don't care who it is. We knew this Ole Miss defense was going to have a real tough time tonight. We said all week that they are not going to score with this Georgia offense. We picked Georgia to cover. I did not think they'd win by 35-something points. I'm not doing the math right now. 52-17. I think that's 35. A dominant performance. I don't want to say from start to finish because it was 14-14 at one point. Then Georgia goes off and I think scores the next 34 points in the ball game, and that's what they do. Especially this defense. It didn't look like they were tackling well, and it just seemed a little off to start the game, and that's not, uncommon for this group. But they got it together. They made adjustments, and they played like the best defense, arguably the best defense in college football, shutting down an offense with a lot of weapons, an experienced quarterback, and a good running back. They ran the ball effectively against Georgia here and there today. They didn't run through Georgia, but man, Georgia ran through Ole Miss like it was nothing. 300 yards. Kendall Milton ran angry. He is healthy. He is back to his old self, and he's running hard, breaking tackles left and right. Had a long touchdown run. Almost had another one. I think he had 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Daijun Edwards had close to 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey's phenomenal, 4 catches, 70, 80 something yards, and a touchdown. That first touchdown throw from Carson Beck to Ladd McConkey, I did not think Carson was going to fit that ball in there. I was watching the receivers on that play, and right before he threw the ball, I'm thinking up in the press box, there's nowhere to go. And then he throws a missile, just a missile over the middle to Ladd McConkey for the touchdown. Daijun Edwards finished it up on the goal line. I think the next 2 touchdowns. Then the Kendall Milton action came in, and then Carson Beck hit Brock Bowers late in the game. But this one was over at the half, I think, 28-14. And Georgia should have scored more going into the half. Malachi Starks had a big interception. You're thinking Georgia's going to get at least 3, go up 31-14 in the half. Carson Beck threw that interception, one of the very few minor things that you can kind of criticize in this game. Probably that, maybe 1 interception and first quarter defense, and that's about it. But they were very good today. Georgia made a statement. They made a statement to all of college football saying that they're still number 1 program, number 1 team in the country. I don't care what Ohio State is doing to Michigan State.
Love you, man. Awesome.
I appreciate it. Hey, come in, say the video. It's a reaction. Let's go.
We knew this was coming. This is the Dogs that we expected. We got it. Let's get up there in Knoxville and do it next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, man. Really do.
Love you, Matt.
I appreciate it. Fantastic game. Bracing the rain. It feels good. It feels good at Sanford Stadium right now. This was an electric atmosphere. And the crowd was loud. Everyone kind of challenged the crowd after last week's kind of homecoming, not a 5-star performance from the crowd last weekend. They were up to the challenge early. You knew before the game that this crowd was going to bring it, and they absolutely did. Ole Miss went backwards. They made it real tough. The Rebels gave them a fight for sure, 100%. In that first quarter, they came out swinging, scored their touchdown, scored another one, basically at the end of the first quarter to start the second. But Georgia was the more complete, deeper team by a mile, by 35 points. And this is kind of what people thought was going to happen. I thought the line was a little too low. I thought it was an easy cover, and Georgia did cover easily. And you knew they were going to cover in this third quarter. When you know they're going to cover in the third quarter, that's a dominant performance. I'm not sure how many people thought they were going to win this game by 35, but this is a championship caliber Georgia team, and they showed it out here tonight against an Ole Miss team that's got some really good wins. They had only had one loss to Alabama, who might be the second best team in the country. This might be a Georgia 1, Alabama 2, then everyone else. Michigan did have an impressive win on the road at Penn State. You have to give them credit. Penn State is garbage. They're basically Iowa 2.0. They're not a very good team, but you go on the road like that at noon with everything going on. That was a quality win for Michigan. Ohio State is thumping little old Michigan State. If you're asking me who the top 2 teams are after today, it's Georgia and Alabama. Then, Florida State kind of escaped. Washington had a tough, win at home. You get credit for that. You won the game. Florida State and Washington did that. They deserve credit. Oregon plays USC a little bit later tonight. We'll see how they are, but Georgia looks like the best team in the country. They absolutely did out here. No team in the country was coming into Sanford Stadium tonight and beating these Georgia Bulldogs. Not with this crowd, not at night, not in, the last home game of the season, not with Brock Bowers returning. Just wasn't happening. Georgia was beating everyone and anyone here tonight, and that includes Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, on and on and on, right? They played phenomenal tonight. Again, first quarter was a fight, and they still have to figure out, hey, how can we make stops to start the game? Because I'm sure it's getting old to Kirby that they are allowing touchdowns on the opening drive like that, but they make adjustments and they get after. That's what they do. This is such a well-coached team. They are disciplined. They are physical. They are connected. You saw that out there tonight. Carson Beck was fantastic outside of that one interception. Again, Kamari Laster shut down Trey Harris. C.J. Allen, freshman linebacker, I thought played well at times. Tramel Walthour had the best game he's ever had. Senior on senior night. Great game for Tramel Walthour. Smile Munden made some plays. Nazir Stackhouse continued to make plays. Malachi Starks with the interception. The guys they're doing their job. That's what this team does. They do their job, and they really get it together. They play better as the game goes along, and they've played better as this season has moved along. They look like they're on a mission, and Ole Miss was in the way. If you've got a Tennessee fan or a buddy, if you got a Tennessee buddy back home, check on them. Make sure they are okay tonight after an embarrassing loss to Missouri. Missouri's good. They got embarrassed, just flat out embarrassed. If you're a Tennessee fan, I don't know how you go to work on Monday after that performance. They are shaking in their overalls watching Georgia just dismantle a quality, solid top 10 Ole Miss team like that. This game was not close. This game was over. Again, I felt at the half. I started writing my notes, thoughts from the box. You can read over on Dawg Post right now. It should be published. If not, I'm going to go publish it right now. Go read that on Dawg Post. It's just big time win. That's what you expect the number 1 team in the country to look like that. A dominant performance against a really good team. Special teams was not elite. Offense, defense, they were today. Even that first quarter didn't look great. The first 2 or 3 drives from the defense, even though they got that key 4th down stop that they needed at the time, really gave them some momentum that they hung on with for the rest of the game. But yeah, big time performance by Kendall Milton. Of course, the offensive line. Shout out to the Georgia offensive line. They played their butts off tonight. They beat down Ole Miss's defensive line, front 7. When you rush for 300 yards, you have to give so much credit to the offensive line. Carson Beck throws for 300. They rush for 300 collectively. Over 600 yards of total offense. The defense just came up big for the second, third, and fourth quarter, stopped Ole Miss. This was a complete dominant win, 52-17. Game was over hours ago. And you can read more about this over on Dawg Post. Thanks for watching our videos. We really appreciate it. And I'll see you over on the website.